How's it going, everybody? Every year I have to cut up deer, and it's something I never look forward to because it's long and tedious. You have to take off all this fat and gristle. As much as I'm a big believer in not wasting anything, there's no real good use for this stuff. You have to throw it away. It doesn't make the meat taste good. Even if you cook it, it won't taste good at all, and you can barely chew it. So it's something that has to come off the deer. But anyway, I want to talk to you guys about a mentality that I'm kind of noticing. It's a trend. It bothers me. And I'm hoping by doing this video, I help influence some of you into changing your opinions. Now, I'm not singling anybody out because that's not my intention. There's nobody on my mind while I'm saying this. It's just something that needs to be done. The video is entitled, The Truth You Don't Want to Hear. This is just something I've noticed a lot. I've been watching a lot of YouTube shows, watching a lot of TV shows, reading a lot of forums, and there's something being said that really bothers me. It's this mentality that you're going to take all your food and all your preps and all of everything, go down into your hidey hole, your bunker, or wherever you're going. You're going to point at the world, laugh in their faces, and say, I told you so. I told you so. You guys are wrong, I was right. And you're going to say, screw the world. And that really bothers me. There's no humanity in that. I'm a firm believer you help everyone you can if you can. Now, I'm not saying you give away all your food and all your preparations, but you help those who help themselves. Sometimes people are less fortunate. Even if they're ignorant, it doesn't mean they're bad people. It's something I always thought about. You just need to help others, and there's a reason for that. Let me share the story with you about my father. My dad's a great guy. He's always been stern. Some people perceive him as grouchy, but I know he's a real great guy. And this is why. When I was a teenager, about 15 or 16 years old, we were going through hard times. We were about ready to lose our house. My parents just couldn't make the payments. For whatever reason, medical or otherwise, we couldn't do it. And our house is ready to get foreclosed on. Well, and when you grow up in Wyoming, like I did, small town Wyoming, when you go do something like go get a loan, or go get help, or go shopping, you have to go out of town. And everywhere we went, it was an hour and a half any direction to get even to a Walmart. So one morning, my parents said we had to go out of town to do some financial stuff. And we drove to a little town called Riverton, Wyoming, which is about an hour and a half from where I grew up. So after doing all that, we decided to eat because along with me, there's also my sister and then my parents. You can't go out of town all day and not eat. So we stopped at a restaurant called Golden Corral. Some of you have probably heard of it. It's a good buffet restaurant, but back in the day, this restaurant, it used to serve stuff, on order as well. You can order the food. So we got this waitress, and she was a nice lady, and her and my dad got to talking. They were talking about, how hard times have been. And come to find out, this lady had just lost her husband. And because she couldn't make the bills without working, she didn't even have time to grieve. She couldn't take any time off. Could you imagine losing your husband or losing a loved one and not being able to stay a day home from work just because you couldn't afford it? Because your family wouldn't make it if you stayed home. That's a real rough situation. So my dad, the good guy that he is, after we ate, we were starting to go back to the car, and he went back and talked to that lady. And he took our last $100 bill, and he gave it to her, and said, you need it more than we do, and then walked off. He didn't do it for recognition. He didn't do it to show off. He did it because it was the right thing to do. And that's always stuck with me. That's a great thing to do. I'm a firm believer in helping those who help themselves. Doing what you can to help others. It's real important to me. I think if everyone did that, we wouldn't have as much stuff to worry about. Now, I'm not saying you give up all your stuff. I'm not saying you let your family go down with the ship. You do what you can, but you help others if you can. So she needed it more than we did. That's what my dad told us. Even though we were losing our house and going through hard times, he knew she needed it more. So he gave it away. I just thought that was great. So anyway, guys, we never did lose our house. We made it through it. So it's always been a great thing. Anyway, guys, remember to rate and comment. I hope I influenced some of you. If you have a similar situation to share, I'd love to hear it, because it's always stuck with me. So rate, comment, subscribe. This is Legend. I'll talk to you guys later.